Chapter 10.6, Part 2. We're going to look at a theorem that covers two secants, a secant and a tangent, or two tangents. So for two secants, if I want to find the measure of angle A, it's going to be the average of the furthest arc away, that's DE, and the one that's closest, BC. So the measure of angle A would equal 1/2 the measure of DE minus the measure of BC. For a secant and a tangent, it's the same thing. If I want to find the measure of angle A, it'd be 1/2 the measure of DC minus BC. For two tangents, again, it's the measure of the arc that's furthest away from it, BDC, minus arc BC, and take 1/2 of that. Looking at problem A, I do have the measure of angle E. I was also given the measure of arc AD, and I want to find the measure of arc BC. We'll call that X. So I know that 62 degrees is the measure of the angle. It equals 1/2. The furthest arc away from it is 141 degrees, minus the arc that's closest, which is X. Multiply both sides by 2, and I have 124 equals 141 minus X. I can subtract 141 from both sides, and I'll have negative 17 equals the opposite of X, which gives me that X is 17 degrees. So the measure of arc BC is 17 degrees. Problem B, I could use the same formula as given above, but if I know that this arc is 140 degrees, I definitely then will know what the remaining arc is, because both of these arcs have to add up to be 360 degrees. So 360 minus 140 gives me 220 degrees. So this arc is 220 degrees. Problem A, I want to find the measure of QS, arc QS, we'll call that X. I'm given the measure of arc PT and the measure of angle R. So 56 equals 1/2. The one that's furthest away is 135 degrees minus the closest one. Multiply both sides by 2. 112 equals 135 minus X. Solving for X, I have X equals 23 degrees. In problem B, I want to find the measure of arc FIH. I'm given the measure of arc FH is 130 degrees. 360 minus 130 would give me 230 degrees. The next picture on the handout gives us the different circle and angle relationships. It's a good picture to have in mind and a way to make your flashcards from. There are a couple problems that I gave you as practice problems that I would like to go over. For problem number 4, I want to find the measure of angle 4. Again, I can easily find the measure of this arc by doing 360 minus 124, which would give me 236 degrees, and that would be the arc. Half of that would give me that this angle measure is 118 degrees. To do a problem like number 8, I need to know the measure of arc LR, and I can easily find that because all four of these arc measures have to add up to be 360 degrees. And problem number 9, to use the theorem, I need to know the measure of arc SW, and again, I can easily find that because all three of these arcs have to add up to be 360 degrees. Problem number 12 is a little different than what we've had. I want to find the measure of arc LJ. I don't have the measures of either arc LJ or LRJ. To do this, I need to add some extra information or draw on some extra information or extra lines in this picture. So let's draw the center of this circle. And then if I go from the center of the circle to point L, this is a radius that is touching a tangent, so we know that is a right angle. If I do it again for point J, it's the same theorem that applies. I know that's 90 degrees. The measure of arc LJ would be the same measure as the central angle. I now have a quadrilateral that has four angles, 34 degrees, 90, X, and 90. These four angles have to add up to be 360 degrees. So X plus 34 plus 90 plus 90 equals 360 degrees. So X plus 214 equals 360. X equals 146 degrees, and that would be the measure of arc LJ. In problem number 11, we're asked to find the measure of arc DPA. Again, we don't have measures of either the arc, so we'll take the center of the circle, draw the radii to the tangent lines. We'll have two right angles. I'll name this X, but in the end I want to find Y. So I know that X plus 90 plus 90 plus 84 equals 360. So X plus 264 equals 360. X equals 96 degrees. That gives me the measure of arc DA, but I need the measure of arc DPA. So 360 minus 96 gives us 264 degrees. And that concludes 10-6.